Conversation, 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 conversation. Life's journey. Hey, conversation, 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 conversation. Let's talk about it.
Hello, it's Conversations with Moji, and I'm excited to be back. And today I have a special guest, Anna's son. She's a friend of the house and someone that we have learned so much from. And today she's going to be talking to us about life, growing up as a teenager, how it was our experience as a child, the difference between then, and I would like to do this just to emphasize what we're talking about. The difference between then and now. The days of analog and all of that, and how life is now, and what it is, what the difference between the way we were disciplined as children and how we discipline our children now, especially those of us that live in diaspora. So yes, I'll allow her to introduce herself once again to us. We all know her, but she's going to introduce herself to us. And our young man will also introduce himself to us. All right,
Okay.
welcome, Bimbo. Please introduce
Yeah.
yourself to us.
Hi all. I'm Bimbo Adesanya. Used to be Bimbo Abdul, flying horse house. And I've got two kids. This is my second child. My first daughter is a girl, Simi. She's 17, and Toba.
My name's Toba. I'm 15.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, Toba, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. You'll be our first teenage guest on the show, and we're excited to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Toba.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so people, yes, let's start. How was it in those days? What are the differences? What were your experiences in those days growing up?
I think one of the biggest differences I would say is if I look at being a teenager, I grew up as a teenager in a boarding school, so I was out a lot, or from home, and so I probably didn't have a lot of my friends being local. So, and growing up, my parents weren't very keen for us to just roam outdoors. So a lot of our friends tended to be family friends. Compared to like with the kids now, even though Toba and Simi, their schools are not local, but they're both day students. But they especially with regards to Toba, for instance, he has a lot of his friends' social networks that he goes out to and hangs out with quite a lot. So just looking at myself personally and comparing to his, I would say that would be a big difference between my growing up and his.
So I'd like to look at the aspect of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in Africa, I'm sure just like you were in the same school. So growing up in Africa, I know for most parents, maybe not all parents, but using the cane, some hard discipline, even in the schools, where
Yeah.
some of the things, can you just share with us some of the things, different between then and some of the things you see now?
Well, if I look at my style, I'd say, just if I compare to my dad, my parents, it's fairly similar in a way in terms of the discipline style. And there were a number of things that I admired about, my parents and how they were very engaging in how we were brought up. I can count the number of times I got smacked or hit as a child, And there was a lot more focus and a lot more emphasis on taking responsibilities for where your actions and recognizing consequences of what you were doing. And so we had a lot of freedom to make choices and and make wise choices. And I respected that, and I thought that was that was a great method, and I've employed a lot of that as well with the kids. So my husband and I are fairly I'd say a mix between relaxed and having expectation on the kids to be disciplined in making the right choices, be a bit more deliberate about this, what they choose to do or not do, and we give them a lot of that freedom to make those choices. And yeah, so in a way, I would kind of say we're quite similar in terms of, if I think about my growing up compared to discipline growing up compared to disciplining the kids now.
Okay, because I know that for some, well, let me say I was a good child, but my siblings were not like that. I mean, they had it. They were
Yeah.
smacked many times, and I know that there's a difference. I mean, even when I first got here with my kids, and the first two times I was upset and I was going to, for me, it was a lot of work. I felt tired. I mean, I was like, this is too strained. I was trying to hit someone. So I stopped it because it was not working for me. But I know that in those days it was a norm. Many parents did that. I mean, you would have, because you probably have educated parents and well enlightened. So they were able to, adopt the rights. And I think for you guys, it really worked. It must have worked for you. So to talk about, I'm sure you have friends from Africa, right? Do you have
Mm.
African friends?
Mhm.
Did they talk about it? I know there's a lot about African parents on TikTok or on all of the social media about how the things we do. So can you tell me, Mommy has said how civil they've been with you. Can you tell us a little bit about what you know and what you hear your friends talk about?
Uh, I used to be. I haven't been smacked in a long time because it just got to a point where I just stopped doing stupid things, so I stopped getting smacked. So it wasn't. I hear my friends talk about. I have a few. They talk about how they were also hit, but most of them they say that like as they've gotten older, it's just stopped for the most part.
So that means as you get older, you sort of adjusted.
Mhm.
Okay. So can you give me one experience, something that you can remember, growing up that you got, maybe you were smacked or whatever it was, and that has stayed with you.
I used to get in trouble at school a lot. And I used to like whenever someone would irritate me, I would just lash out and I would hit them at school. And then I must have been around 9 or 10. I realized like it's just not worth it because a kid will annoy me and I'll hit them and then I'll go home and I'll get hit. And I'm like, at the end of the day, the other kid, he hasn't, like, I'm the one who's really lost here. So I just,
Okay. So that's why you stopped.
mm.
But do you know any other African parents that you see hit their kids and now you wonder, I mean, how?
I don't really not see it. I mean, people talk about it, but I don't really like
You were
see it.
interested. Oh, that's nice. As they say, it depends on what part of the world you live in. And the crew you keep. If you have a lot of, some African parents, I'm sure you would have seen or heard a lot, you know. I know once a father came to the US to visit the family, and then he was telling us that one of the kids was doing something he could not understand why, why would you, and the mother kept on telling the child, but the child kept doing it. And then he just got mad and then he hit the child. He beat this child that she had marks on her body. So I said, so he said, if I'm begging her, he said, but in Africa, it was in Africa, I wouldn't be begging the child and, he said, he started pleading with her to please not tell anyone in school. But those are some of the things that I see, and I'm like, this would not have happened back home, But one thing I've learned from you, Bimbo, is the fact that you said your parents gave you the opportunity to make choices.
Mhm.
And I also believe that is a good way, a very good way to help the child grow,
Yes.
because they take responsibility quickly.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people used to fault me back home because I asked my kids, what would you like to wear? They were just 6, 7, and I'm asking, what would you like to wear to church tomorrow? And then one day my brother said, why are you asking him what he wants to wear? They're gonna keep choosing the same thing. Just get something for him to wear. And I said, I think he's gonna be the one wearing it. So he has a right to what he wants to wear, you know. But
And
I
it's
but that
less pressure on you as well as a parent once they can make their choices.
So okay, I would like to know, because now we live in the world where the child is growing up very, very fast.
Mhm.
Social media, everything is teaching the kids, and you as parents, you also work. Are you able
Mhm.
to balance, all of this, ensuring that they are, because even though it makes it look like he made a choice, not all
Mhm.
children make the right choice. Some of them at this age are doing I mean, I hear of a 14-year-old child being pregnant, and I'm like, how?
Yeah.
But that is what happens.
So, I mean, I suppose when I talk about choices, is there's still boundaries. There's still very tight boundaries, and I suppose in terms of what those boundaries are, those are set and those are clear in terms of what is acceptable and what is not. So, Toba talked earlier about hitting children in school. So, a child frustrates you, even if they hit you, the expectation is not to hit back. And I think it took a while for Toba to recognize that actually that wasn't acceptable, even though he couldn't understand why a child should hit him and get away with it. And so there are other, similar boundaries that we set. So even though you've got, we say you can make choices, you know what the boundaries are, and you know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So when he goes out to see his friends, he knows what the expectations are in a way. He's still, like any child, makes some choices that we question sometimes, and we have where maybe disappointed at that we would have a conversation and deal with appropriately. But on the whole, there are still clear boundaries of what's acceptable and what's not.
So, talk about what is one thing you as a child you admire most about your parents?
Uh, One thing is quite like specific, but one thing is that when I go to school, I see a lot of people, and like most of them like don't eat. Most of them will go into lunch every day, and they'll just complain about, oh, this food's awful, that food's awful, I don't like that food. And I just sit there, I think, I don't really like it, but I'll still eat it. Because like even from young, I was like, I could never just, when we're having a meal, I could never just eat what I wanted and then just leave the vegetables and put them in the bin. I always had to finish it all. So it's just
Wow,
me.
that's really remarkable. I tell you, people, that's a great one. I tell you the truth. I mean, I'm not sure I'm very good in that aspect, but you see, it's wow, that's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's really fantastic because one thing I'm trying to get into my kids, the fact that you don't, as long as you have no allergies,
Mhm.
and I tell them, God has blessed you, no allergies. So why won't you? eat and get away. Just put it in your mouth, and they really struggle. So just like what he's saying, and my daughter comes home, I'm not eating all day, and I'm like, but they gave you food in school. I just couldn't eat it. It was just. I said, you're going about it the wrong way. As long as it's not poisonous, it will not affect your system. Please eat it.
Yep.
So what I try very hard to do now, I think maybe I started a bit late because in Nigeria we have that luxury of okay, oh the house help should do this one should do that, so they grew up there, they still have some of those things in them, but this is a very good one. I mean,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I can see how growing up in Nigeria probably make that difference. I suppose for me, it was very much a case of, what, we're having one meal. I'm not, varying for your preferences, too much hard work. So, we eat the same. I mean, I make an effort to try and make it as tasty as possible, but it's one meal and that's all there is. You don't get a snack because you don't like what's on the table, and yeah, so it's kind of worked, so which is good.
That's a very good one. Very, very good one. Because I know of people that I grew up with. There's a particular friend of mine, every time she came to my house, was like, it was really tough. Jumoke was also one of my good friends. So she would just come home, anything you serve Jumoke, she eats it and she's gone. But my other friend is like, no, I don't eat fish. No, it's a bit too hot. It's too, spicy. And I used to just think, I'm like, okay, I didn't mind. But now looking back, I'm like, I don't want my kids to go to someone's house and they are so picky and so choosy and so. I don't think it's a good thing. There's nothing fancy about it, So that's a very good one, Toba. You picked that's excellent. That's really nice. And people, well done. Well done. Yeah. So another aspect for me is, growing up, we didn't have my parents in particular, maybe yours will be different, but my parents didn't really, they advised us that, okay, you can take this course, so you can do this, you can do that, but I'm looking at it compared to how you grew up. Are you able to, what's the difference between how you're able to help them academically and, in making choices school wise and how you grew up?
How I think so far, especially at the primary school, well, they changed school once for primary school, and we as parents looked at, the kids, how they were. I mean, Toba talked about, being always getting into trouble in school, and that was just the amount of energy he had. And so we changed the schools to somewhere that we felt would be appropriate for the sort of energy that he had. But then as they've gotten older, so looking at their secondary school, it was more of a joint effort. So we had a selection of schools that we thought were appropriate. So from our point of view, thinking about the distance to the home, the kind of schools they were, what they offered. So we picked the selection of schools, and then they ranked them and then worked hard for what they wanted. So in terms of Toba's school, it's a highly competitive selective school. And so it was up to him to do the work necessary. He was highly motivated to get in. And so it was up to him to do the work to get in. And if he didn't get in, he could look back and think, okay, I could have worked harder to be able to get in. And I think that's just the way we try and put the emphasis on, you recognize what you want and then recognize what efforts you need to put in to get what you're after. So we're now getting to the point where it's about selecting, Toba's selected his GCSE subjects. There was some advice in terms of, well, this would be good, this, just giving him some advice, and most of the subjects actually he took the advice. But then there are other areas that he doesn't. So there's we debate. So his tutor in school is desperate for Toba to join the debating club. Desperate for him to join it. I quite like the idea of him joining the club as well. But Toba is like, well, I can't be asked. And it's one of those things that I would like him to. I've advised him to, but he's not keen on it. It's not the end of the world if he doesn't. So yeah. Do you have any comments on that? Or?
It's not that I can't be asked. It's the fact that one, I don't enjoy it, and two, I have something else on at the time when the debating club is,
which is football. So he would rather be playing football than debating. So yeah.
But it's just the way it is, the fact that, I know there are people that their parents told them, you are going this way. You are a science student. You have to do this, And my daughter came to me and said, must I do these sciences? I said, I didn't tell you to take, I saw your interest. I saw that you were picking those classes, in high school. So I just advise that maybe you should go this way. And these are the things you can achieve on this line, So that's what I try to do. But you see, as you said, the boys are a bit different. My son would tell you, once I just said, would you? I'm not keen. I have no interest. I'm like, why not try it out? If you try it out and it doesn't work out, then you can stop. But I will know that you have made an effort. But then I look at some people that they knew exactly what they wanted. They went for those things and they are good for it. Yeah. So, but some of us had to go through what we're advised to go, and we didn't like it. So I think I respect people like that. They know what they want. And look at it wouldn't hurt him. I mean,
I must admit, I didn't really know what I wanted to study. And so it was just working with my dad, and he gave some suggestions. Oh yeah, you could do this. I mean, he was a professor, so he had an idea of the different parts of uni and suggested what he thought was right. One of the things he was very clear was, oh gosh, I wouldn't encourage anybody to be an academician, and that was the only thing he said. But other than that, yeah,
he didn't want anyone to be like him.
No, exactly. So, but other than that, he gave suggestions and advice, and not really sure there was any subject I had a specific interest in. So I was really very open. I just wanted to go to uni because it was the thing to do, not because I had a particular. Whereas if I look at Toba, he's got a specific interest. He absolutely loves maths. So that's his favorite subject. So at least so anything he's doing is around, he tends to pick around that. Simi, she just loves medical research. So for her, is anything to do with biology, chemistry, then that's her interest. Wow. They've picked their subjects around what they're interested in. So it's sort of worked out in a way.
Would you say they're better than us in that aspect? It seems like most of them know exactly what they want. In this younger world.
My daughter is very clear. Okay, yeah, go on.
It's less of like knowing what you want. It's more of knowing what I don't want, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's no subject that I go into and I'm like, yes, maths, I love writing out equations. It's not that. It's just that I enjoy it more than, like, for example, English. I really don't like English. Really don't like English.
He can't wait to give up English.
They're all the same. Well, I couldn't wait to give up English. I think it's different here than in Nigeria. I don't know. It's a little more intense here than in Nigeria. For us in the US, I think. I don't know about the UK. Yeah. So I understand English.
Yeah.
So it's more of what you don't want,
You
against
kind of
121s. Okay.
just take all the subjects you don't like and you put them all to the side, and then you're left with like maybe three that you're like, oh, these are all right.
Well, you can't do just three. It's the only three classes they do.
No, but I mean, those are the ones like you would look at and you say, oh, I want to maybe, those are the ones that I would consider going to like uni and studying.
Oh, okay.
I do like 10 subjects at GCSE.
10.
Wait, no, you don't do 10 subjects, you do 10 exams, but that's like 9 different subjects. Because there's 2 exams for English.
Oh, for English, 2.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
English literature and English
Language.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. That's true.
But I think one of them is like you have to write something, and then the other one is like you have to write a response to like a play.
Those readings.
Mm.
And that's the part I don't like. And the part I don't like myself. So I understand. Yeah, I really understand. But then, so, Toba, what would be your advice to any young person watching this show right now?
In what, like that's quite a broad question.
Yeah, just tell me, what would you like to say to someone watching this? Because I know in your generation there are a lot of distractions.
Just be authentic to yourself. Just don't like you have your interests and your hobbies that make you individual to you. So don't leave those. Be authentic. Be individual.
I hear your mommy's voice in that. I hear your mommy in that right there. I hear her right there. That is what she believes, that everyone, you have your identity. Just be real to yourself. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. So, Biba, what would you like to say to us? As parents living abroad, some of us came with the children when they were not born here. They were older. Some of them have kids that are doing everything. What would be? And I hear many parents say, I've had enough to hear. I don't have my time. Life is terrible. So tell us something. How are you able to cope? What would you like to say to us? What are some of your experiences?
Well, in terms of coping, obviously the kids are older now, so there's a lot more independence that they have. But I think one of the things that I would say was particularly useful is just giving them a bit more responsibility. It then frees me up. It means I'm not responsible for having to get into all the nitty-gritty of the different things they have to do. So yeah, like I think one of the perfect ones is exams. I don't get involved with them with their exams. It's up to them to make sure they they're practicing, they plan how they're going to work through, because otherwise then that's another stress I have to take on and carry on myself as well. There's just too much. So it's just having that, and this has come over the years, just giving them more responsibility to make choices. It gives me a lot more free time, I think. Yeah, so I think that would be the main thing, is just trusting them to make the right decision. A lot of what you've told them over the years, a lot of it does sink in. We might not think it does, but a lot of it does sink in. So we should trust that we've done the best, as best as we can. I'm a true believer that as parents, we always do what we think is in the best interest of our kids. And we have to trust that we're doing the best. That we have no way of knowing for a fact that we've done right or wrong. We only know that in hindsight. So we just trust that we're doing the best, and we trust that whatever principles and guidance we've passed on to our kids will help them when we're not there. Maybe they're in school, and we trust that it helps them, guides them to make the right decisions when we're not there to decide for them.
Okay, so I would like to say this in, I met a friend, I was talking to a friend once and I said, oh, I would like for my kids to tidy up the house, do house chores. And then he said to me, there's no need for that. What award do you get for being able to sweep the floor or something funny? And he said, I mean, they'll be rich enough to have cleaners and everything, so they don't need to do it. And I said, I'm not. They're not doing it because I think they're going to keep doing it. Whatever they do in their homes when they are grown is their business. I said, but it gives them a sense of responsibility when they see this is our home, so let's keep it clean. It's that way I tell them it's our home. Let's keep this clean. It's our home. Let's do this there. Let's place this right. So what's your take on that?
Before I say anything, I'm sure Toba has something to say on that.
I just think that I don't mind with keeping things clean, but I think that some people are a bit too over fixated on cleanliness.
Yeah. As far as Toba is concerned, that why do we need to do all of this is not necessary, but except you can actually see the pile of death. There's no point doing anything, and so I think we've come to the point where we've agreed that we have very different standards. So it's a case of, well, we can't go by your standards, we have our standards, so you need to do blah to make sure that we're in agreement, at least for as long as we're sharing the same house. And so that's where we've had to get to with Toba. So he doesn't agree that we need to do some of the house chores that we do. Personally, I think it's important. Yeah, you might be able to hire people to do everything in the future, but then you might not, and you just never know.
Yeah.
It's how to deal with just how to take care of yourself and to take care of your environments, whether you have the ability to hire people or not.
Yeah, it just.
But then that's my view.
Yeah, but you don't. I mean, as I said, don't you have to be? Some people are like very finicky. Don't drop this. Oh, this. I mean, I have a brother that when you're eating around him, if a grain of rice drops, he picks it up. I mean, he just does it. And I'm thinking in my head, what's your problem? Why must you pick everything? But that's him.
I think people have different standards. We have to say something.
I was just looking at something.
Yeah, he's looking at my husband because I think my husband is very particular about order, tidiness, cleanliness and that sort of thing. And I always say, yes, I enjoy seeing that sort of order and cleanliness and clear desk, that sort of thing. I love it, but then I just don't have the motivation to maintain it, and that's my difficulty, I suppose.
Wow. Yeah. At times I just turn the other way.
Yeah.
I have a friend that says, just shut your room door, don't open it, we won't fight. Keep your door shut. Whatever you're doing there, because you cannot go after everything. You really can't. You really can't. It's too much stress. Yeah. So, and as teenagers, I think they have their standards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My son keeps his room clean and then dirties everywhere else, messes up everywhere else. But his room is clean. And then he shuts his door and comes out. And I don't know.
I haven't heard that one before.
So that's what he does. He keeps his room as clean as in his own standard of clean. Yeah. Then he comes upstairs and then
everywhere else is.
I didn't see it. I'm like, how come you can see it in your room but you can't see it here? You said they all have their different standards,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been, I didn't know we could go on this far, but we can keep going. There are many things to talk about. And I know, I would say our children are blessed to have us.
Mhm.
Even though we may feel, as I said, we don't feel like we are doing anything, but we are doing a lot.
Mhm.
You're doing a lot. And especially for those of us that live here without all the, I know how it was in Nigeria for me, all the helps and everything, but it's a bit different here. And but we are putting it together.
Mhm.
We're there. And I know that our children can see these things. They see those things. And I know they appreciate them because we saw our parents, and now we are showing that we really appreciate them.
Mhm.
So I'll say, well done, and well done to Daddy. I know he's somewhere there. Well done to him. We really appreciate you taking our time while on your holiday to talk to us. Thank you so much, Toba, for taking out this time.
All right, so
And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
yeah, all right. I won't take too much of your time. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.